In 1619, Virginia was an isolated British settlement on the Chesapeake Bay, sparsely populated by men trying to make the colony profitable for England. But the colonists were devastated by hunger, disease, and raids by Native Americans. So when the White Lion, a badly damaged Dutch slave ship, arrived carrying 20 kidnapped Africans, the colonists bartered food and services for the human cargo. The colonists had no model for slavery. The Africans joined poor white Europeans as indentured servants. They would earn land and freedom in exchange for 7 years of hard labor. The colonies prospered, and as exports grew more profitable, the colonists were reluctant to lose their labor. Unlike their European counterparts who held citizenship in their home countries, Africans were not subject to English common law. They were workers without rights. In 1641, slavery was legalized. Africans became chattel, personal property that could be owned for life. Slave labor enabled the colonies to become so profitable that in 1660, England's King Charles II established the Royal African Company to transport humans they called black gold from Africa to the Americas. When England finally outlawed its slave trade in 1807, America relied on its own internal slave trade. By 1860, 1 million humans were being moved and sold in the colonies. Families were torn apart. Traders marched their chattel from the East Coast to the southern plantations. Along the way, slaves were herded like animals into crowded pens, yards, and warehouses. Traders and owners wanted a self-reproducing labor force, and the labels they used reflect the degradations of slavery. Bucks and breeding wenches were sold at auction, along with prime hands to work the fields and fancy girls, graceful, light-skinned women who were sold into prostitution or to be mistresses to their masters. The enslaved population was controlled by legally authorized violence, whippings and public floggings. Owners were fined if they did not punish recaptured runaway slaves. But slavery had always had its critics in America. As the slave trade grew, so did opposition. And eventually America became a country divided against itself.